I think it was around 98, 99. I was chairing AIM, and Dr. Chris Hena was coming to visit and needed lodging. Barry and I had just gotten married. We had her come stay with us, and from that point we got to be really good friends, and she stays with us every time she comes down. And after she left, she went back to Kazakhstan, and I sent her an email and asked her what she would like for me to send her. I wanted to send her a goodie box, and she came back and said she didn't need anything, that they didn't need anything there, but the children in Liberia, her home country, had never seen the printed word because all the books had been destroyed in the war. So she asked if we could do a collection, and my daughter and I, Devin, we started collecting books with the youth group and put some boxes in the youth lounge, and had about 3 boxes of books. And then we got a call. Somebody called at the church, called and let me know that the Parkland Library was getting rid of some books, and we went down and got those. Then somebody else found out about some others, and it just kind of took on a life of its own. And we wound up shipping, I believe it was 7 55-gallon drums of children's books to Liberia. And Chris's sister, Angie, is a teacher there, runs the school, and they built a library to house these books. And they did a little tub that went to the next village with some books, and they started rotating these books like a traveling library that would go from village to village. One of the books that had been donated by Asbury's nursery school had the Asbury address stamped on the inside cover. And that book somehow wound up at a school in Monrovia, where the superintendent got hold of the book, saw the inside cover, and called his staff in to pray. He was going to contact us and ask us for money to help build a fence for the school because they were having so many kidnappings, and people weren't sending their children to school because they were too afraid. It just so happens that that letter requesting the money came the night that we had our financial budget balancing meeting at AIM. And we have a line item called the Emerging Ministries line, where we keep a fair amount of money set off to the side throughout 1 year. So if an emergency comes up, we're able to fund it. And at the end of the year, if we don't need to use it, we find a worthy cause to donate it to. The letter was asking for $1,300, and we had $1,300. And I'm going to start crying. We had $1,300 in our Emerging Ministries fund. So we sent the money to Liberia. They built the fence. About 3 years later, 2 years later, I'm not sure exactly, I came in for an AIM meeting one night, and there was a gentleman there from Africa who had come in earlier in the day, met with Tom Gibson, and said he wanted to talk to the people who handled getting us the money. So he showed up at our AIM meeting from Liberia to thank us for what we had contributed, and told us that they went from 129 students to over 1,200 students. And they went from one session a day to 3 sessions, 2 for the children during the day, and then they started a night class for adult children who had been in the war and really hadn't learned any life skills. So all that happened from one book that wound up in the hands of the superintendent. It truly is a God thing. That's it. These things can't just happen. They just can't. So that's how the whole thing started. We like to get the plastic ones because they're more versatile for them. They use them for water storage because a lot of villages have no water. And they use them to store things to keep them dry during the rainy season. It's pretty rainy there, muddy, nasty. They keep food stuff in them. They use the barrels for everything. I remember Jerome brought a video one time, and we were watching the video of them delivering the clothing. The truck is going through the woods or through the jungle, stops in front of a big mud puddle, puts the board down, drives over, puts the board back in the truck and takes off again. I asked Jerome, I could hear music in the background. I said, what's the music? Are they celebrating something? And he said, yeah. So he didn't say anything else. A little bit later, I said, well, what are they celebrating? And he just looked at me like, how could I not know this? He said, the clothing. And as the truck comes around the bush into the village, they're playing music, they're dancing, they're all having a great time. There's a big pile of clothing in the middle of the village, right in the dirt, just a big pile. And somebody would call your name, and you would be allowed to go to the pile and pick 2 pieces of clothing. They didn't pick through them, they didn't try them on, they just grabbed 2 pieces and left. And this one woman, they called her name, she came in and she got a skirt, she pulled it right on, pulled the t-shirt right on over what she had on, and she just started dancing. And I was thinking about how happy she was to get 2 pieces of clothing, pick them up out of the dirt, not even know if they fit or anything else, just pick them up. She was so happy. And then we found out later she walked 7 hours to get there, just to get those 2 pieces of clothing. So I don't think you can't make a difference. So we're celebrating our 20th anniversary for Barrels of Love this year, and we are doing another book drive for children to kind of punch up their library. And these books will be rotated all over the library to villages everywhere. One book. If you gave one book, so many hands will touch that book because it will go throughout different villages. It doesn't take a lot from our end to make an impact over there. They have so little.